Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Ranking the Map Packs. This episode, there's actually a pretty drastic change to the formula that affects the rest of the series. As I explained in my last episode, because I'm going on this big journey to rebeat all of the demons that I've completed for the purpose of having an account that's not leaderboard banned, I need to rebeat the map pack levels. And the thing is, I kind of want to speed up that process and I want to beat the map packs a lot faster so that way I can get them out of the way for the rebeat challenge, and I wanted to find a way to do that without making the production of this video and the rest of the series really sloppy. What I've decided on doing, because I'm sure that all of you will enjoy this as well, is I'm just going to review more map packs per episode. I'm going to settle on reviewing 6, twice as many as I normally do, which should double the length of the videos, but as a result, you guys have more content, and I can beat more levels. So yeah, from now on I will be doing 6 map packs per episode. As you can imagine, we've got quite a few levels to get into, so without delaying any longer, let's get right into the reviews. Next up we have Polargeist X.
This ain't your grandfather's Polargeist, it's hardcore now. Forged from the remnants of Skrillex's stolen hard drive, glued together with the residue from a unicorn's brain matter. This is Polargeist X, containing all the swag from every montage parody on YouTube, but condensed into a single Geomtrash level. This is Polargeist X. This level immediately solved world hunger, only to cause it again out of boredom because it's Polargeist X. Upon release, the entirety of the internet went down due to the amount of people trying to download and play Polargeist X. This level has more downloads than there are people in Jamaica because it's Polargeist X. Playing this level is the equivalent of finding the Holy Grail and destroying it with a hydraulic press because it's Polargeist X. This joke has gone on longer than it did for Stereo Madness X because this time I'm talking about Polargeist X.
I really like this level, and I think it's better than Stereo Madness X, and I think it's really fun, so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Do I really have to review this? It's called Standard Madness. What the fuck interesting thing could come from Standard Madness? I'll give it this. It is the most accurate and most amazing level name in this fucking game because it's just a standard-ass, basic, run-of-the-mill Stereo Madness remake. And as I've made very clear by this point, I just don't give a fuck. I will say, though, that at this point, I have found a way to break the monotony with these, and this is a bit of advice for anyone who has to go through the hundreds of Stereo Madness levels that are rated. Just use nongs. Like, I just changed my Stereo Madness song to be like a cover that makes it sound like every end, and it made it a lot less boring, but I'm not ranking the level by that criteria. It is still another run-of-the-mill, boring-ass Stereo Madness remake that I do not give a fuck about. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. I'm so sick of these. So next up we have Stereo Electro V3. This level is Stereo Madness, but changed to have the song and theming of electrodynamics. Except when you hear that, you might picture in your head that someone rebuilt Stereo Madness to work with the song. No. This level is literally just a copyable of Stereo Madness with the deco change, but the gameplay is identical, and all they did was put speed portals before each of the ship parts. Other than that, it is identical to Stereo Madness. The worst part is that the sync is bad, and normally for a gimmick like this, it's obvious why it's bad, and it is, and normally you don't complain about it that much because that's not the point of the level. The reason I'm complaining about it here is because of this speed change here. It's so unsatisfying. It actually bothers me. Like, this must be how people with OCD feel, because this shit is actually, like, gnawing at me. Like, I almost want to make Stereo Madness, but it's electrodynamics myself and do it right, because I hate this fucking lack of a speed change so much. This part of the song screams speed change. It's why the drop in actual electrodynamics, like the original level, is so satisfying, because it's the climax, it's the hard part, and the song emphasizes that so well. Here, you just do more of the same. This might actually be some of the worst song rep in the map pack so far, but it gets worse. This level has all 3 of the coin routes from Stereo Madness left in, and the thing is, I take the coin routes even in Stereo Madness remakes because I'm used to them. When I beat the Rob Top levels, I have a rule that I have to go for the coins because they're gold coins and they're more important than user coins. I actually want them for the stats. But for this level in particular, Are you? Yeah, this level's getting a 1 out of 10 for that. Fuck you. It is now time for another episode of Xenophobia with Nothing is Scary. Iceland is fucking boring and shitty, and I hate it. I fucking hate Iceland. And this concludes this episode of Xenophobia with Nothing is Scary. Dude, honestly, this level is completely worthless. I don't understand why this level is in the map packs, because even from the perspective of back then, where it's just levels that are popular or cool that Rob wanted to show off, what is so cool about this level? It's just very basic cube gameplay that isn't interesting at all, with Flappy Bird gameplay that just starts halfway through, and it lasts for almost half the level. Like, giving this level a little credit, there is a ball section at the end that is something, but by the time you get to it, it just ends. It's really short, and it does not make this level worthwhile at all. This level is completely not worth playing. It is extremely boring. It's actually somehow more boring than all the Stereo Madness remakes. 3 out of 10. Wow, I'm actually legitimately surprised. Stage Mix by Nakatoshi is a good level mix level. This is a Rob Top mix level, and I feel like it actually does a pretty good job at merging all the parts together. It's to the point where I didn't even remember that this was a stage mix level until halfway through. It actually left my brain, and it felt like all the gameplay was original and coherent. I am kinda surprised that this level is as good as it is. The only complaint I really have is because it uses Theory of Everything as a song, which, limitation of the time, I get it, but because it uses Theory of Everything as the song, the ending is when the song ends, and so it doesn't go through all the levels at the time. I mean, actually, maybe it does. Maybe this level's old enough to where Jumper was actually the final Rob Top level, but I'm not sure about that, because that would have been 1.0, and this level has multiple colored backgrounds. I don't know if this is updated or whatever, but either way, it's a nitpick regardless. I do feel that even with this being the best Rob Top mix level we've seen so far, I'm not sure if there are any after this, by the way, I actually haven't checked, but assuming there are, with this being the best Rob Top mix so far, and as much as I do like it, the fact it's just a Rob Top mix and the gameplay is pretty unoriginal, it does hold it back a bit. But still, this isn't that bad, and I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I'm actually legitimately impressed. Next up we have Polargeist V2 by Sumsar, and guys, this is a historic moment. This is the first harder rated level in the series. I one attempted it. Okay. Yeah, I don't really get why this level isn't just rated 5-star to fit with the rest of the pack, because this level's not that hard. It does have a pretty mean fake at the end, but I mean, clearly it's readable, considering I one attempted the level. I honestly don't really think this level is that bad or that good. It's basically the exact same quality of Polargeist, but it just so happens to be harder. This is a pretty good V2. It's probably one of the best V2s I've ever played. I do like this level, but I gotta knock it down a peg because it doesn't really feel like it does anything new. It does just feel like a harder version of Polargeist, but the reason I'm still gonna give it a high score is because A, I like Polargeist, and B, this doesn't sacrifice the quality of Polargeist, which means it's still good despite being harder. I think that I'm going to give this level an 8 out of 10, and that's knocked down by the lack of originality. Next up we have Stereo Dynamicness, and I swear to God, I've had to record this fucking review like 19 times because I keep having a hard time going back and forth between saying Stereo Dynamicness and Dynamic on Track. This is a horrible fucking naming scheme, like, oh my god. But ignoring that, Stereo Dynamicness is basically just a better version of Dynamic on Track in every way, shape, or form. It's basically just Dynamic on Track if you removed all of its problems and made it a little bit easier. It still has that weird, stiff gameplay that requires you to read really far ahead, and it does have the abrupt speed change on the second half that Dynamic on Track has, but this level feels a lot more fair, a lot less buggy and overall is generally just really good. It's weird to say considering how long and negative my review of Dynamic on Track was, but stereo dynamicness is just good, but with not a lot to say. It's a very ordinary level that you just don't really pay that much attention to. It's fine, and that's genuinely really surprising to me. I'm gonna give stereo dynamicness a 7 out of 10. I don't even know how to describe Glitter Jumper. I came out of this level really confused. I mean, I like it, it looks alright, and the gameplay is not bad, but what is this? Electrodynamics meets Jumper, I guess? It feels like the ship parts were ripped straight out of Electrodynamics, but every other part doesn't feel that way. It feels very unique, and it literally felt like I was like, I'm playing a map pack level! No, you aren't. You're playing Electrodynamics. Fuck you. That's how this level feels, and I'm very conflicted. 7 out of 10. Time as Eco is so fucking annoying, and for more reasons than the community lets on, to be honest. This level is known for one thing specifically, and that's the sheer amount of triple spikes in this level. And I gotta be honest, by themselves, those would not be an issue. It is them combined with something else, but it's that combination that makes this so much worse than people let on. But I will say, let's talk about the triple spikes for a second. Triple spikes, in my opinion, are one of the most raw forms of difficulty you can have in this game. They're very similar to Straight Fly in the sense of there's not that much leniency there, but anyone with a little bit of practice can get pretty consistent at them. So that being said, when you have a level that's supposed to be easy, and other than the triples, there's not much making this level that hard. So when you have a level that's not that hard, but every click or almost every click is a triple, what that results in is an experience that feels very stressful and not for the right reasons. Almost every click in this level is irrationally tight, and it requires insane amounts of precision, which just generally isn't that fun for a level that isn't demon difficulty. Making matters worse, that's not the only form of precision that this level ends up requiring. It's very annoying that this level has a lot of awful setups. Not just the ending, which we'll get to in a second, but also shit like this death. Wow. Before the screen even scrolls to the spot where I ended up dying, you just have to know to hold and keep holding through a series of clicks. If you wait on one of these clicks, it renders everything after it impossible because of a shit setup, and that's really annoying for a level like this. And I mentioned that the triples, and now I'm gonna say also this, is not annoying by itself, it's annoying because of other stuff. What I'm referring to is a mechanic that this level uses, and it's a very old school mechanic that isn't really used that much today. It's even less common than seeing sinkers nowadays, and that's putting a yellow pad inside of a spike. This is a very, very old school, and it used to be a very, very popular type of fake. And just like triple spikes, usually levels that do this would only do it once or twice throughout the level, and it would basically require that you use practice to know what's coming up, but as long as you were okay with using practice mode, it didn't automatically make the level infuriating. But this level throws pad spike after pad spike after pad spike at you, and it's annoying because combined with the triple spikes, it requires the most intense focus and sight reading skill that you could imagine. It's one of those things where even after you come out of practice, you just have to hard focus on the level because it just comes at you constantly. Let me show you a single screenshot. This screenshot right here. There is a triple, which is a precise click, and right after that, pretty much while you're still in the air because you just jumped the triple, you have so many thoughts that have to race through your head because you have to know to keep holding to jump over the pad. And you have to know this while also actively thinking about the fact that this is the only spike pad in the level that you don't hit. All the others, you have to hit the pad and not jump over the spike. This screenshot is overstimulating in a very annoying way. And when you look at the whole level like this, yeah, it's a problem, and it's just annoying to deal with. This is why this level lives in infamy, and in my opinion, the infamy is very valid. This level is not fun. It's frustrating. It's bad. And then there's the ending. I don't have a lot of actual critique of the individual section, but what I do need to tell you is that it is basically just the ending to Time Machine, but somehow even more blind, and the jumps are really oddly spaced out and finicky, kind of like the transition out of the first upside down part in Dry Out. And the reason that sucks here is because the ending is a major choke point, and considering all the shit that I've explained so far, you can imagine how frustrating it is to have to deal with that right at the end of the level. Even if you take a step back and look at the level as a whole, it's not that special. Other than the deco, which admittedly does look alright, this is just a shittier version of Time Machine. It's just Time Machine, but harder to sight read and with way more triple spikes, and I don't see any appeal in that. So yeah, this level's not that good. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10. Afterglow by Techno is a really interesting 1.9 level that I was kind of surprised to see come across in the map packs because I didn't know this was in them. I think when I originally beat this before, I beat it outside of the map packs before starting them, and that kind of says a lot. This doesn't really feel held back by being in the map packs at all. It's just a pretty neat level that happens to be in here. The gameplay is pretty fun, and it looks pretty good. I will say, unfortunately, is slightly held back by the existence of the duel towards the second half. The duel isn't really that fun. It's got one or two pretty badly placed and spaced out jumps, but other than that, this level's really good, and I don't even really think that duel ruins it that much. This is a lower 10 out of 10. This is a pretty good level. Dynasty by Vibrant is a very unique level, and I'm very mixed on it, because on one hand I really like a lot of things about it, but on the other hand, the gameplay in this level is rather frustrating. We'll get the gameplay complaints out of the way right off the bat. The gameplay in this level is clunky and kind of odd, and also has some pretty annoying mirror portal usage. While I'm not normally the type of person to hate on mirror portals, oftentimes in this level they really do serve to be nothing more than a visual annoyance. And also, this level has a UFO at the end that I really don't like. It's just a massive choke point for no reason, and is genuinely just not that fun to deal with. This level demands practice mode, and that in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing, but it is annoying that the UFO was as annoying as it was despite practice mode. On the other hand, I really do like the decoration in this level. It's very unique, and there isn't a lot to hate about it. The 3D takes an interesting perspective with it popping out of the bottom of the block and not the top. Despite it doing that, the 3D is correct when perspective is thrown at it. It's just, you know, not a perspective you usually see with 3D. And the benefit to having the 3D poke out of the bottom of the block design and not the top is that it's actually a lot easier to gauge where the cube can land, which that's not necessarily hard to do with 3D to begin with, but it is just worth noting that this is a pretty beneficial perspective for 3D to take, and it is just something I wanted to note. The only part where the 3D looks off is the wave. I don't even necessarily know if the perspective is off in the wave. It just looks weird to me for some reason. I'm actually not sure why, but it just looks off. But the rest of it looks fine, and there's a lot of other stuff that's really cool with the decoration too, and shows off a high amount of attention to detail. I really like this part where the ground spikes actually connect with a hollowed out ground spike. Stuff like that is kind of commonplace today with decoration, but in 1.9 this was pretty unique and showed a pretty high amount of effort. The level in general is just oozing with effort and looks really, really good, and I really do like this level. If it wasn't for the gameplay, I'd give it a 10, but I do think I gotta bump this down to a 9 out of 10 because I really am just not a fan of this level's gameplay. The Prism by Asonic Men is a very boring level in my opinion. Similar to the last level, I have mixed feelings on it because the gameplay is very lackluster, but unlike the last one, I have way less to say about it. This gameplay is just boring. It's the bad kind of 1.9 gameplay where you just kind of go through the motions and nothing really interesting happens. The decoration, on the other hand, is really, really good with some really cool effects. This level looked really good for its time. Just think it's very similar to the last one. I'm going to give it the same score, a 9 out of 10. I don't have that much to say about it. Next up we have Kappaclysm, and this level is just a ripoff of Cataclysm. It's basically if Cataclysm was level 1. Why is this in the map packs? I don't get it. The level's not necessarily bad. I mean, it's just an easy version of Cataclysm, and Cataclysm is a good level, therefore this is a good level. But at the same time, it lacks so much originality. It's just fucking Cataclysm. Why is this in here? 4 out of 10, I guess? Soul Refraction by Zenthic Alpha is the most ordinary 1.9 level I've ever seen. The most average decoration, the most average gameplay, this is the most average level I've ever played. It is fine, there's nothing bad about it, but there's also nothing that stands out about it, and I feel like at this point in the map packs, 1.9 levels are better than this. This just feels like a very run-of-the-mill, very ordinary level with not that much going on for it. It doesn't use the song that well either, and in my opinion, there's just not a lot to make this level memorable. It also has some odd color choices that, in my opinion, just don't look that good, and the gameplay, while being fine, feels a little finicky and just isn't really that fun. It's not bad, it's just not that good either. Again, the main word I can use to describe this word is average. It is mid. It is so alright, it's not even funny. 5 out of 10. Haunting by Noah is an extremely good level. The decoration is flawless, the gameplay is pretty much flawless. My only complaint is that it ends a little bit too early. This is a very unique and very cool 1.9 level with very interesting colors, gameplay I haven't seen a lot of before. I, in general, just really like this level. Unfortunately, it is the kind of good level where there isn't a lot to say about it. It's pretty simple, it just has good gameplay and deco. It doesn't do anything super unique, it's just a good level, and that's all it really comes down to. I really like this level, and I'm gonna give it a 10. Galaxium by Viperin is probably the most 2.0 level in the map pack so far. It looks really ugly, but at the same time looks like a lot of effort was put into it, which is a trademark kind of feature of 2.0. And also, the gameplay is all over the place and really hard to read. It's not the hardest thing to read, and it could be significantly worse, but there are a lot of things about it that make it really annoying to read. The moving objects in this level, though, I will say could be a lot worse. For 2.0 especially, they really aren't that bad, and they are very, very tolerable. It could be worse, it could also be better, but I will say I don't hate this level. I did, at the end of the day, enjoy playing it, and because of that, I'm willing to give this level a 7 out of 10. What the fuck is Proton by Dynasty, dude? The gameplay in this level is a mixed bag. Some parts of it play fine, others play like actual horseshit. Can we stop transitioning jittery, spammy wave gameplay into UFO portals where you have to fall, please? Like, can we actually stop doing that? It's annoying. But also, I just want to say this level's decoration is extremely ugly even for 2.0. It looks like, no matter what part and what color the part, it looks like you took a level that was meant to be one color and then banged a Sharpie on a desk until it exploded all over the screen to cover it in a completely unrelated color. It just looks so off and so bad, and the gameplay for the level's incredibly clunky and not fun to deal with, and yeah, I just don't like this level. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. Galaxy Purple by Zenthic Mega X is a pretty okay level, all things considered. It could be a lot worse for a 2.0 level, and all things considered for a 2.0 level, it's pretty alright. My only big complaints that have to do with the era are there will be parts where there's a solid wall and it'll just suddenly move out of the way last second, which can be a little annoying. Luckily, you can kind of use intuition to just kind of read where you're supposed to go anyway. Like, a lot of the paths feel obvious despite being literally blocked off and moving with a moving object. It does feel like you're sort of led into it by game design, which is a good thing. The other thing, though, is that some of the transitions come across as very sudden, especially stuff like the wave portal where you're only the wave for like a half a second. That part is really odd that it's even there at all, but other than those two complaints, the walls that move out of the way last second and the weird transitions, I think the gameplay in this is actually pretty fun and pretty enjoyable. Decoration-wise, I think it looks really good, and my only complaint really is the red wave part with this weird green glass everywhere. Colors kind of clash. Doesn't really look that good. But the rest of the level looks amazing in my opinion, and even the wave part would look fine if you removed the green stuff from it. All in all, there's a couple flaws here and there, but I do think that this level's pretty solid. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. And that was episode 6 of Ranking the Map Packs. This, so far, seems like one of the most ordinary episodes of the series. We didn't really get any bad levels, and we didn't really get any masterpieces either. We got a couple pretty good 1.9 levels, but other than that, we didn't get anything truly surprising. This is a very normal episode of Ranking the Map Packs, I feel. There was a couple bad levels, a couple good levels, but just nothing that felt like it was really worth talking about. I'd go so far as saying this episode was pretty normal, all things considered. And despite that, I hope you were able to enjoy this, and I hope you are excited to see the episodes of this series getting longer, because I certainly am excited to make these episodes longer. It's actually kind of fun to work on these episodes, so yeah. That being said, I don't really have that much more to say. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, feel free to subscribe and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, thank you for watching.